Hi, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson coming to you from a holler in Eastern Kentucky, where I'm actually giving you my thoughts from the holler. Yeah, they're mine. They do not represent any particular organization except mine. And these are my thoughts. And I'm likely to piss off a lot of people, left and right and center. So get over it. Here we go. So I've been talking with people over on X. Okay. I've got some people over there who are hiding behind their fake names, their assumed names, and all that kind of stuff. And I think they have some sense of self importance or something. I'm not sure what it is, but I want to show you one that I promised him, her, or whomever that I would address their questions that they had posed to me, since I had explained to them. They'd asked me about integrity because they're a Marine, either current or former. I don't know. They're hiding behind a nom de guerre. So, and I don't know why they would do that. But I seriously doubt that this is JD Vance. He's definitely a Marine up there. And even though I know that JD has legally changed his name from Bowman to Vance, and I respect that, using no name over here is an entirely different idea altogether. So let me go ahead and just share the page, because I have a few thoughts about this. And I'm going to answer these questions that he posed to me, or they posed to me. And like I said, this is going to piss people off left and right. I don't care. Truth needs to be told, and it needs to be told with honesty, and it needs to be told with sincerity. So let's do this. Are you ready? Here we go. Let me share. Bum, bum, bum. So I'm going to increase the size so everybody can see exactly what it is we're talking about here. And what size have we got? Okay, there. I think that's pretty big, isn't it? Okay. All right. So this is a post. Let me just give you some background on this post, okay? Just to kind of get into it just a little bit. No Name, a Marine, had said, well, let me go up here a little bit further. No Name says there have been two mass shootings targeting elementary age kids at school. Both were Christian and both were by trans killers, as if that's the only mass shooter identification that there is since 1966 is less than 0.1%. But it's about less than 0.11% of the total population of mass shooters have been trans. The rest, well, mostly cis white males between the age of 20 and 40. So anyway, so that was the first thing, and we kind of got into it, and then I noticed that the person has the Marine emblem and all that stuff by their name and all that, the no namey in the cult. So I don't know where this person actually lives or anything like that. Don't know anything about no namey, but it's deeply offensive that a Marine wouldn't have the courage and integrity to actually use their name and hide behind some fake name. And I find that to be less than what this person actually pushes down through here further down. And this person accuses me in this one, I'm not here to cater to you or your paid account. Okay, yeah, I know that. You don't have to, but you can certainly hear the answers to your questions right here. So trans is a mental disorder. I don't care. He says, if you love someone, do you reinforce a mental delusion or tell them the truth? As a Marine, integrity matters. Reclaim your integrity, Marine. Left a comment out right there, no naming. So anyway, never lost mine. This is my response back. All right. Never lost my integrity. That's why I very deliberately live honestly with myself, you, and anyone else. I live openly and in a life more real and true than at any time in all my 66 years. My children see it and know it. My grandchildren see it and know it. Since retiring a few years ago, I've been an advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. Currently, my mom, brother, sister who live in Pike County, Kentucky, asked me to come home to be their caregiver. I've been back since December of 2023. And I'll tell you, this is definitely a really challenging thing for anyone. I don't know how my brother did it for the 15 years he did it prior to that, taking care of all of these in the house, as well as our aunt who passed away while I was out of the area. So yeah, it takes a lot, believe me. And then no, Namie replies back here with, so you have integrity and will be honest with a boy that wants to be a girl. You would let them know that they have a mental disorder and work with them to get help. And more importantly, you would have integrity and not go along with their mental delusion and tell them they're not a girl. Okay, so no name. Um, God, I wish you gave me your name because I can't stand the fact that I'm having to use some fake assumed name. And mine's legal. I know no name is not your legal name. Anyway, yes, it gets under my skin. People clamoring about who I am and who trans people are, and then they're the ones hiding behind the fake names. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Really? Really, really, really? The hypocrisy of that is just so rich, right? So, here they are clamoring all about who I am and who trans people are, but they're the ones hiding behind some fake name that's not even close to being their legal name by no stretch. No namey. So yeah, that's really rich, by the way. Really, really, really is. And my response back to that series of questions from this morning was, "What's your real name, Maureen?" Then I'll answer each of your questions one by one, and I think you'll be surprised by my answers, and it's going to surprise a lot of people, probably a lot, left and right, center, wherever you might be. I'm getting ready to just pounce on this one, and I hope you can get it. Okay, first thing is, will you be honest with a boy that wants to be a girl? Absolutely, I'll be honest. You know what I'll tell them? It's one of the most difficult things you will ever do. People will not support you. You will be ostracized. Your life will be turned upside down. Your family, many will reject you. Your friends will reject you. Your community will reject you. And you will have one of the most difficult and challenging lives ever if you proceed down that path of pursuing wanting to be that you believe you are of the opposite sex, the opposite gender, really. And no, the person didn't use sex or gender. So I'm just going to say that's what that is. The person's wanting to make their gender reflect their external gender expression, reflect who they really are, who they really know they are. So, yes, I'll be honest and tell them that. I would absolutely tell. I would discourage them even. I'm not going to affirm anything at that point. If they first come and just say something like that and there's been no indication of it, absolutely. I would definitely question it with them. Ask them questions about it. Get to know why they think that. And then tell them the dangers of doing it because they're going to lose a lot of friends and family and community because of it, because of the hatred of others or the misunderstanding of others in the world about who you are. Then, if you're really sincere about this, well, we're going to talk again in 2 years. Now, as for it being a mental disorder, if the person already has comorbidity with other types of mental health issues, then those issues need to be addressed. Absolutely. And then the only way that you can assign the word mental disorder or mental illness to anyone is if they have actually been diagnosed by a professional who understands the meaning and the nuances of gender dysphoria. All these things will be discussed with this kid, depending on how old they are or whatever. But you have to sit down and listen to them. And then you've got to tell them the reality is this is not an easy thing. You better be darn sure that's what you want because lo and behold, it's it's definitely a challenging world. I mean, I had cousins just come right out and tell me that you need to get a shotgun and blow your head off. People I'd known all my life, grew up with. Why? I don't have the slightest idea. But I do know that there are those people out there who think like that. And a lot of them are right here on X, not my cousins. Well, maybe they are too. Who knows? But the people over here on Twitter, geez, they can be pretty vicious. And so for a boy who says they believe that they are a girl, it's not wants so much. They have to actually know deep inside that they are. It's a matter of knowing that they know that they know. It's not a want. It's not a, you know, I think maybe I want to be a dinosaur today. Well, that might last a week or two or three. But if they know that they know that they know that they are, in fact, a girl on the inside, their gender is female, and they may have whatever on the outside that doesn't show that, they will let you know. It will be obvious to you after a period of time if you allow them that space to be able to tell you. Okay, so let's go on down through here and work with them to get help. Absolutely. Absolutely work with them to get help. Make sure that they need to know for sure. You need to know for sure. And your doctors, without the politicians standing in between them, without people going, oh, no, we don't want you to get that particular kind of care. We would rather you go through electroshock therapy. Bull. That's why we push back against all this stuff, because we know where you want this to go. But yes, absolutely. A mental disorder, well, really, you need to look that up, because having a gender identity different from what was assigned to you at birth is in and of itself not a mental disorder. It is not. Doesn't cause any kind of mental disorder. The only challenges that these people face, that a trans person faces, is the as being ostracized in their communities, the people they love and respect, their siblings or families or whomever. That's the real problem that they have to face, and they got to contend with that. And then if you're going through today's period of time, you also have to deal with the noise that's coming out of this administration, the Trump administration, about how bad transgender people are and how much you want to strip away their health care and their lives and their livelihoods and their ability to do all that kind of thing, to live freely in this nation. I know many active duty, or formerly active duty, some still are, transgender service members, some of the best people in the world, but they're being kicked out, not because they haven't served with meritocracy, that they have not earned their positions with merit, but only because of who they are. That's all we're seeing right now. That's what we're seeing and experiencing under this administration. Kick them out, not because they are bad people, not because they don't know their job. They're being kicked out because they just don't like trans people being in public. Those are the things you would need to tell a boy or a girl who's wanting to live and be, who thinks that they are, who believes that they are the opposite gender. That's the reality you have to tell them about and explain this to them, that they had better be really, really, really sure of who they are. Most people know who they are by 4 and 5, like I did. Most people know that. Just about everyone does, as a matter of fact. Some, most of the time, their gender and their chromosomal sex actually align to some degree. But for the small percentage, like 0.6, 0.8, maybe 1%, they don't align. They don't align because it's not just a social thing, but also a chromosomal thing. It's much more nuanced than somebody trying to tell you that, oh, it has to be, we have to go back to elementary levels biology because that's all we really accept. No, we know more now. We know a hell of a lot more now. Oh my God. So let me see. And more importantly, would you have integrity and not go along with their mental illusion and tell them that they're not a girl? Well, look, no namey. I don't know who you are. I wish I did. So I'm just going to tell you flat out, the person with integrity is going to be the one who tells them how difficult their lives will be if they pursue this further. And if they are persistent about believing this of themselves over a number of years, and after consultation with their doctors and their psychologists and their psychiatrists and any other therapists around who actually are knowledgeable in dealing with gender dysphoria, and not some quack in your local church who thinks you can use electroshock therapy or immersion therapy and put them in a camp with a bunch of people so that they get raped, and hopefully maybe then they'll convert back to being, who they were before, because they just need to experience the other way. No, 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 no. That's what this administration is pushing. Don't believe it? Look it up. It's there. So anyway, the person with integrity is going to say, look, this is a difficult challenge. And if you really think your gender is different from your chromosomal sex or your sex, your biological sex, then you're looking for a long, difficult, challenging road ahead for you in your society, in your community, in your churches or not churches, or wherever, your synagogues or your mosque. You're going to have difficulties. People will refuse you. They will not talk to you. They will turn their back on you and show you that Christian love, or that love that's supposed to come from Mohammed and all of that crap. It's BS, folks. That's a person with integrity. No namey. So I'm still waiting for No Namey to tell what his actual namey is. The only apparently this person thinks that they have um, so much of they have such a high opinion of themselves, that they have so much authority and power in the country, that they are unwilling to tell me who they really are. But a Marine with integrity wouldn't hide behind a fake name like that we know is not your legal name there, No Namey. So anyway, so yeah, that pisses me off a little bit. What's up? Oh, not No Namey. I don't think you could watch. People can drive by and watch this stuff without me knowing they're there. Yeah, they sure can. And they'll probably comment on something later on, and I'll know that they were there. But most of these people don't have any guts. They don't have the guts to come and talk to me directly. They would rather type it on a keyboard somewhere. If that's you, there is no integrity in that. There's no honor in that. Stand up and be seen for who you are. No namey. Now let's go over to another person. Well, let me just check right here real first. There's some notifications I got to check out. Okay, let me scroll to the top of this page. Somebody liked my reply. Big Dumb Gummy likes my reply. Hey Grok, or whatever you want to call Grok. Would you show the doubters of the stats Shady used the demographics of mass shooters since 1966? Thanks. They seem to be well informed but deeply misinformed. And then Grok did reply to all of that. Cool. Could be interesting. Hi, Andy. Well, I don't know if you're watching or not, but I'm here. Yeah. Where are you? Let me put this in here. Where are you? I'm live now. Let me reply to that one. Yeah, it could be interesting, Andy. And something? Yeah, no. I like your handle, by the way. Yeah, that sounds like something I would say. Yeah, not so much. Yeah, not so much. Where are you? I'm live now. Let me just put this up here. I'm going to post this one here too. Click. No, that's not it. X. Nah. Okay. So anyway, they've got all the links they need, everything they should be talking with me about. Andy Andy actually put some stuff in here that I thought was interesting. Let me see if I can find what Andy said before I go. Well, it's over here. That's where I just go. Maybe it's there. Hey, Andy. Here we go. I found the response from you that I wanted to reply to. Are you there? I'm here. I'm live. Where are you? I'm live. Where are you? Okay. So this comment makes a lot of assumptions about what I know and what I believe and what I don't know. I mean, this, Andy, I appreciate your comments and you've been respectful and the fact that you've been decent about all of this to this point is remarkable. Too many people can easily drop off the edge, and I do too. And I know I don't know it all, and I've called a lot of I've explained a lot of people by describing them as being under the influence of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Um, I have to be sure that I'm not one of the dumb ones. That means I have to study and show myself approved, right? That's what we should all do, rather than making assumptions about anybody. Yeah. So the things you despise in me, so you're making an assumption about the things you think you know about me, Andy. National strength. Really? National strength. Uh, Let me just put this up here for you. I serve for all Americans, Andy. I recognize the importance of national strength. I recognize that. I know it. That without national strength, anyone could actually roll over us and would in a heartbeat. Why? Because we have been a hegemonic force in the world since the end of World War II. What I mean by hegemonic, we at the end of World War II, there were no other nations on this planet that had the economic and military strength of the United States. But we abdicated our role in the world back then and started chasing rabbits. We had to. We couldn't just let those rabbits run free because otherwise they'd take over. You know, we had to. You couldn't just turn your back on them because they would swamp you in a heartbeat. But we abdicated our bigger role of being that guide that recognized the power of who we were and acted upon it. And why? To preserve a system or maintain a stable system that allowed the United States to prosper and grow and also bring up the rest of the world within that stable system. We abdicated that role. No, I believe in national strength, Andy. Security of the borders? Yes, I believe in security of the borders. There was a time when I would not have. There was a time when I thought we ought to move the border all the way down to Panama and just use the Panama Canal as the border that defined America. And everybody else between there and the top, all the way up through the Antarctic or up through the Arctic, would be states of the United States, not just of the United States, but as a union of states. There was a time when I thought that, and it wasn't all that long ago, 20 years maybe, something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty old. But no, got to secure those borders right now. Too many people who we do not know who they are, what they believe, crossed that border. And it wasn't just under the Biden administration, folks. This has been going on since Texas became part of the United States. It's been going on a long time. There's never been a border there. Never. Not all the way up into the 1900s, early 1900s. There was a small section of fence that was put up between Arizona and Mexico and parts of California and Mexico. but it wasn't to keep people out. It was to keep infected cows from Mexico from crossing over and infecting some cows here in the United States. And then we started kicking out all of the Chinese people who we brought here to help build our railroads and who had been here for a long time with families here. We suddenly decided they needed to go bye bye. And so we sent them away. And then they came back through the northern border and the southern border. Then we kicked out, then we invited in a lot of the Latino people to help with all the farming and stuff like that in the 20s, kicked them all out in the 30s because the Great Depression, which is reasonable. We picked out, what, two or 300,000 then, and then let them back in. Reagan invited them in. People invited people all across the world to come in because we needed help on our farms and with some of the more skilled labor jobs. We brought a lot of people in. Both parties did it because they knew we needed that backup labor force because people here weren't doing it, and we didn't have enough people who were actually skilled in doing any of those things. But no, I believe that the border should be secure. The importance of marriage and family. Yeah, I got no problem with that. As long as that definition of marriage also includes people of the same sex or different sex or whatever it does, or the same gender. It has to be a broad definition of marriage. It has to include gays and lesbians and trans people. It has to include straight people. It can't discriminate in marriage. And by the way, marriage is not an institution of God. It was here long before then. Long before then. One man and one woman getting married. I mean, they're the record. You can look it up. And then family. Yeah, family is hugely important, as long as you also include families that aren't traditional families. And perhaps faith in God. Well, perhaps. You can have a faith in your God, but I also think that you have no business shoving your ideology down our throats, just like we have no business trying to force you to read the Gospel of Harvey Milk or the Gospel of Marsha P. Johnson. That's not our place to force ourselves on you. Now, it's also not your place to force your belief in whatever God it is you believe in on us, either, on anyone else. If we don't want it, accept that. Fine. I will tell you that there are some ignorant people in our community, in the LGBT community around the world. If you are sexualizing who you are and you're putting it on display in some parade somewhere, that is the height of stupidity. What's the purpose of that? What is the purpose of that? I can't agree with that stuff. I have seen it. I've been to pride parades. I've been in pride parades. I've been there. I know what goes on in a lot of these things. And I've been to pride festivals. I know what goes on there. I've been to where drag queens are. I know what that is. In just about every case, not all, but in just about every case, it's an overly performative view of a sexualized woman. And it's a performance art, but it is a sexual performance. Twerking and all that kind of stuff. Oh my God, come on. Come on. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you and I, Andy, would agree on. Let me see. And don't make you a fascist. Of course, they don't make you a fascist. The thing that would make you an authoritarian or a fascist would be that if you think you have a right to lord it over everyone else, regardless of whether or not they believe like you do, that makes you a fascist. A fascist is someone who is an ultra nationalist, who does believe in securing all the borders and stuff like that, They also believe in expanding them. The Nazi version of fascism did that. They were hugely anti-Semitic. They were ethnic purist. Fascism, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily have to be any of those things, but they are the same operationally. I am sure we both look at each other and it is natural to demonize the other side. Yeah, that's true. It's true. People do demonize each other's side of this perspective, a side of this, and all sides of this. Very Janusian, by the way. Janus, the Roman god, four faces. It's very easy to become to demonize the other side. And I don't think we ought to be doing that. I don't want to demonize the other side, but I don't expect to be demonized either. So I hope that clears up everything for you. I don't see any other comments around here. Let me go down and see if there's something on my other LinkedIn account. Oh, I got 5 comments over here on my other LinkedIn. By the way, the content of each side, their biographical details, it's the same. I'm not hiding anything about who I am. I just have 2 different uh, handles on Twitter, on X. So let me go over to this other one, Cassandra 313844475, and I don't know how that was not something they picked. I didn't pick it. I did pick the anti-fascist '07 though. Why? Because, you know, like our grandfathers before us, I'm strongly opposed to Nazism and fascism. They fought for it and won. We'll have to do the same thing. Let's go over here to this other account. Let me see what the other people are saying over on Twitter. Let's see what's happening. Upgrade to premium. No, I'm not doing that. Okay. Minnesota's Lieutenant, the Democratic Party is a cat turd. Hey, cat turd, I'm going to talk about you. Let me put this over here. I'm talking about you live right now, cat turd. Cat turd is somebody who has some position of authority or something like that within the Trump administration, along with that DC Drano person. They do, but they hide behind these little fake names. I mean, who are they to tell us that we are wrong about who we are when they don't have the guts to tell us who they are? And they use names that aren't legally theirs. I mean, who I am is legally mine. Cat turd. Let's see. I'm live now talking about you. Cat turd. Okay, so let me get my link up here real quick. I'm going to pull them where they are. And give me a second. I'm going to go to my website, pull up the link for that. I know what it is, but it's easier to copy the darn thing. Where is it? Maybe not. There it is. Midday. And I'm going to copy this, and then we're going to talk about cat turd real quick and some of the comments on that other page before we go. I mean, this is the stuff that makes my day. Okay, copy, drop. All right, so I'm back to that page. Hopefully you're still seeing that page right there. This is my Twitter page. Let me reshare this. I'm going to replace screen sharing. What does that do? Okay. Oh, wait, this one. Share. All right, now you're looking at my entire screen up there. I'm not going to click on all that stuff. Maybe I need to get off of that one. Hold on a second. Stop screen share. Then I'm going to go back to screen share. Pick the window. And this one. And share. Oh, there we go. Okay, so. All right, so here we are back on this page. And hey, cat turd. Let me see what you got here. The turd you can't flush. Check out our podcast. Well, check out mine, turd. You've got a lot of followers, but I bet you $1 you won't come on my show and listen in. I would be really a big spender. I say a dollar. That's all you'll get. Let me see. I'm gonna post this right here. Paste. La, 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 la. I'm live talking about you, cat turd. Let's see if anybody shows up from over there on the cat turd side. All right. So, barring all of that, let me go back over here. And Satan is a fallen angel, and as such, he has 1,000 times higher IQ than us. We have to resist him in the name of Jesus. No one can debate demons. Just hide inside Jesus and his cross, untouchable. Oh my God, Dr. Taylor Marshall. I know Dr. Marshall. Let me see. YouTuber, Catholic philosopher, best-selling author of History, Theology, Historical Fiction, Christian Patriot book, and link. Hi. No, no. You need to drop the name doctor and just put Reverend out there so we'll know who you really are. Okay. So go over here. Let's see what the notifications are. Put that up. And somebody liked my reply, said, yeah, Dr. McHugh was discredited long ago. Maya Haldeman liked my reply. Grok, would you please show Greg the origin and history of trans people and explain the demographics of mass shooters? Thanks. And then somebody reposted my reply, RidX. And this was, let me see. This is the one that was funny. This person is actually, let me see. Who did I reply to here? Drano, DC Drano. Since he calls himself DC Drano, I'm just going to call him RidX. Okay. And RidX, after every mass shooting, we get the manifesto and the names of every doctor who treated these individuals. Red flags are being underreported to law enforcement because of trans privilege, and kids are paying with their lives. RidX, that's the dumbest thing anybody could ever say. Really. RidX. Okay. So, hey, RidX, being trans is not the problem, but missing mental health red flags is. Grok, please explain to Mr. RidX here about the demographics of mass shooters in the United States since 1966. Thanks. Huh. Grok replied back and said, based on data from sources like the Violence Project, Statista, and the Rockefeller Institute covering 66 through 25, defining mass shootings as 4+ killings killed in public, excluding shooters. Gender was 96 to 98% male, females rare, 4 cases since 1982, age average of 34 years, many in 20s and 40s. Race roughly mirrors US population, white, black, Latino, Asian, and other. Trans non-binary shooters are extremely rare, 2 or 3 documented cases. Mental health issues are common across all. There you go, RidX. Oh, let me see who else replied to something. Somebody reposted my reply to RidX. You need help, Jackie. I was talking to Jack Posobiec. I think that's his name was. He goes by Poso something. Let me see. Let me go up here. Jack Poso. It's Jack Posobiec. Okay. You need to be adorning. Here's what he said, and that was my reply. You need to be adorning your home with crucifixes, sacred scripture verses, rosaries, and religious icons as wards to protect your family from demons. And then my reply back was, you need help, Jackie. Because none of that stuff will stop any damn thing. It won't. Oh my God. Mm-mm-mm. All right. So let me see who else posted something that I can make fun of here. Joe liked your reply. Let me see. All right. So this one, what I said, okay. Very true. But okay. So here's what Jack Posobiec said. Prayer causes pain to demons. No, all prayer does, Jack, is give you a sense of peace. It doesn't impact any darn thing else. This is why demons order their human familiars to urge people to stop praying. You're not that dumb, Jack. It harms their masters. especially when many pray at once or attend church. That's true. Like it or and I said, that's very true. But Ender and Ender's Game was much better than either, in my opinion. Praise Ender. Yay. The movie, on the hand, was shit. Yeah. Yeah, the movie was not as good as the book. Oh, yes. Yeah. Not as good as the book, for sure. Movie. I need to put movie in there before I go on, right? Okay. Replying. Okay. Let me see. Who else made a comment that I can actually go down through here on? Hi, Riley. You misspelled press. Talking to Riley Gaines. Oh, my God. All right. So, Branson and two others like my reply. Let me go up here and see what this post is all about. Brylan Hollyhand, a young kid. We don't hand whiskey bottles to an alcoholic, so why are we handing puberty blockers and scalpels to confuse teenagers? Transgenderism is a mental illness. Yesterday, its affirmation killed kids while they were praying. How long will we ignore this disease coddled by the left? Brylan, uh, wow, you need help, son. Let me turn this off because I'm not interested in a call from Birmingham. I could tell them it's Joe's Pool Hall, but they would still call back. And then Madam Madonna, Madam or Mama Donna. There we go. Dickens. Okay, Transestico. I'm sorry, but you are born. What the f you are? No if, ands, or buts. Okay, so I'm replying back. Replying back to this because this is a common thing. You hear it a lot over here. So this is my response back to these two, to this person particularly, and I replied back to Brylan as well because he's just a kid who knows nothing, has experienced nothing. I hope that he can actually figure all this out before he becomes one of these far right nut jobs, far right, extreme right nut jobs. Anyway, so replying to Mama Donna, just let me read that down. It baffles me why people use names like that. Oh, my good Lord. So this is my response. You ready for this one? So you're good with kids born with cleft lip having that issue corrected surgically? You're good with conjoined twins being separated? You're good with extra fingers and hands removed or children with undefined and ambiguous genitalia corrected? You're good with women who want breast implants to look more feminine? You're good with people who needed glasses? You're good with wearing makeup to impress other women or men wearing elevator shoes to appear taller and psychologically more masculine and powerful? And you know who I'm referring to? That's Ron DeSantis. That's what he was. That's what he did. Got to be taller to project power. You're good with Botox injections, lip fillers, surgical reconstruction of body parts when they wear out? Mm-hmm. Right. Notice there are no replies from Mama Donna on that one. Yep. And you hear it all the time. You were born that way. That's the way God made you, and there were no mistakes. Well, I've got a whole list of them. God wasn't involved in your birth. Not at all. Okay. Let me see what else. Oh my God, I've been at it 45 minutes. What the heck am I talking about anymore? Let me see if there's any more comments over here. Brylan really bothers me because he's just a kid. I mean, who the heck encouraged this person to forsake learning more about the world and more about science and knowledge? Who told him that that's the way he should live his life? Who said that to him to encourage him to go down this path that denies the existence of another human being. Hmm. All right. Let me see what else is down here. Oh, there's nothing on that one. So let me stop sharing. I want to get off of this thing here in just a second. Stop sharing. So anyway, thanks for showing up, being here, whoever you may be, wherever you may be from, or wherever you may be from, and all of that. I appreciate it. I don't think Andy or Red X or anyone else showed up. No Namey, the Marine. I don't think anyone bothered showing up, even though I offered them an opportunity to do it. Um, so yeah, I mean,